and then I hit him, and I'm made out to be awful. Jacob JRX Life here, and today Joe Fazer is an emotional and physical abuser who blasts gear with horse needles. Apparently is what his ex-girlfriend says. So, I'm a bit late on the train, but this is what's happening in the fitness industry now. Guys, here's a bit of advice. If you don't want this to happen to you, don't date. Stay single, lift weights. It's okay. It's alright to be single, guys. You don't have to get a girlfriend just to prove your worthiness or something like that. You may have watched these black pill YouTube channels telling you, go get a girlfriend, go date, go do this, you're sub 5. It's not that important, guys, if you don't want to end up like our boy Joe. Here's the thing, guys. If this is your first time hearing about this, I strongly recommend you watch Joe's video on the topic. It's on his Instagram page. It's the first video up there. He's wearing a white top. If it's not up there, then sorry, this will have to do. There are obviously two sides to every story. I'm aware. Please don't call me a misogynist. Please don't say that I think everything Joe says is gospel. This is from my very limited knowledge of somebody else's relationship, of things they've both put up on the internet, and I'm going to comment on it. I think what I have to say is somewhat worthy, as me and Joe are a very similar age. We started training at the same time. The only difference being is Joe is wildly more successful than me, which may be why he's not in the best relationships, and let's get to that a bit later. This is quoting Tiana C Clark, i.e. Joe's ex. It says, "I'm only writing this to warn other girls of Joe's behavior, as he has a platform and is very good at manipulating and gaslighting, as me and his ex have both experienced. It's not fair that his followers comment and send me and Scarlett hate after what we've been through being in the relationship with him." So that does sound pretty negative. Obviously instantly blaming Joe, not saying anything about herself, saying that obviously he's big and has a big platform. We all know that he's huge. He's one of the biggest fitness influencers in the UK, probably his age in the UK. She goes, "It started off amazing and he was perfect and treating me amazing. Then it all switched. So of course it's going to be amazing. This is what we refer to as the honeymoon period in relationships. Some people say it lasts months, some people say it lasts years, but this is generally where we have intense feelings of, oh my god, I love this person, I don't ever see my life with anyone else, it's amazing." That's probably what she's referencing. So this is quite normal. He's not a manipulator for putting in effort in the beginning. She says, "I can admit I've not been perfect." That's fair. If you heard the intro to this video, I think hitting someone is not very perfect at all, and you shouldn't do it at all. And here's the thing. If you did actually hit Joe, if Joe's ex, if this person hit Joe and Joe didn't call the police or didn't try to do this, I think there's a double standard. And if you're like a big fitness guy, and certainly as big as muscular as Joe, maybe you think maybe you're scared to call this out, this sort of abuse, or you think that people are going to make fun of you, that a girl is hitting you or something like this, or you're scared that if you say it, it's going to look like you started it or something like that. And certainly with the level of fame that Joe has, I understand why he wasn't the first person to call any of this out. Even, I'm not saying that he didn't do anything because I don't know, I wasn't there. I'm not saying that this girl did anything because I don't know, I wasn't there. I'm going by what they're saying. So what I'm saying is, if he didn't call this out, definitely the guy has his reasons to. If I was in the same shoes as Joe, as in this famous and big, I don't think I'd even make my relationship public whatsoever. I think it's decently risky to make it public. It says, "I've not been perfect, but I moved 4 hours away from home. I had nobody and I was being emotionally and physically abused until I broke and did the same to him." So here's the deal. If something's happening to you, you shouldn't fight fire with fire. You shouldn't let it happen to you. I know it's easy to say. I've been through bad things, bad relationships in the past, but I've learned not to let things happen to me. Or, for example, I've been cheated on. If that happens again, I'm not gonna let it happen, because I had some problems with my own value and I thought, you know, I won't ever get anyone else. I'm sure a guy like Joe gets many opportunities from many different girls, and I don't think it's difficult for him to find a girl. So I don't think he's being forced into this relationship thinking, oh, I'm never going to get anyone else. I think it might be a bit deeper than that, why he stayed. For this girl, if she was being abused by Joe physically and emotionally, then the thing is to leave. It's not to stay. I understand that this guy is rich. He probably provided a bunch of things for you. He's recognized everywhere he steps. Maybe it's enticing for you to stay with somebody like Joe. But if he's doing these bad things to you, then, which personally I don't believe, I don't think that this guy has any reason whatsoever to be going around hitting or emotionally abusing girls. He's come from a sort of normal perspective. He's come from a normal area. He maybe had quick success, but I think he's definitely worked for it. This guy started off making videos in his garage gym, and now he's worldwide famous. He's got sponsorships, he's got My Protein deals, he's got all this stuff, he's got his own YouTube channel, he's got so much to uphold. If he has any sort of business mind, even to put it simple to those terms, to keep his income streams, he shouldn't be doing these stupid things, because everybody nowadays has a smartphone and they can record things going on, they can take photos. Now, this girl has put up pictures, let me show them right now on the screen, of abhorrent abuse. This is what she claims Joe did to her. I'm not a doctor, I don't know, possibly Joe did this to her. I don't think so, personally. In Joe's own video, he explains that one of the pictures she used is a paintball scar, and I can almost confirm that does look very similar to a paintball scar, unless he I don't know, hurt her with something circular. I'm not trying to dismiss her claims, I'm not trying to say this is wrong, I'm not victim blaming or whatever you guys are saying. This girl's not making it look good on herself by basically trying to ruin Joe's career by putting up this is the evidence. There is no physical evidence, there's no videos, there's no, so far that I've seen, that is, of Joe doing anything bad to this girl. Whatever people count as emotional abuse depends. But just from the tone of voice where Joe made his response video, you can tell that the guy's broken. You can tell he never wanted it to come to this. Genuinely, the guy seems shook. I can recognize that sort of stress, anyone can, when somebody's speaking and their voice is shaking. I don't think Joe's a very good actor. He does put in a personality for the camera, obviously everybody does, but I don't think he's, I don't know, Leonardo DiCaprio, you know. You can tell that the guy's shook, that he's just trying to make this video to sort of clear his name. And it does seem like he's quite sad about it, because the idea is, oh, you get rich, successful, all this, relationships must be easy, right, at this point. And then he finds out, no, they're not. He has gone through my phone multiple times and deleted voice memos I have, and more pictures I had, and he would argue with me until I broke and would film me and fake cry, which he also did to Scarlett to blackmail us into not saying anything, that he had that of us. The English here is really hard to read. I'm sorry, I don't quite understand. I think what you mean is that he may have been taking photos or making fake evidence or something. I'm not sure. In the photos, the bruises aren't very visible, as I had to be very discreet with everything. That's fair, but I don't believe the guy had cameras in his bathroom. If he did, or if he was watching you or doing this, you should have left, you should have run away. These photos look like they were taken in bedrooms, bathrooms, different areas. I'm not sure what it means, be discreet with everything, be discreet with, I guess maybe you felt like you had to hide everything in your life, I'm not sure. The thing that I don't get is, right, it says, oh, you had to move 4 hours away. People usually show signs that they're bad or they don't match together decently early on, and what I've learned is do not move in with someone for a very long time. I'm sure it's very enticing for you to move in with someone like Joe Fazer, who has a bunch of money, a bunch of success, but I think it was the wrong move for both of you. Personally, I wouldn't do it. Let's say that theoretically Joe was the bad guy and you didn't know about it. I'm sure you would have found out without having to move in with him and then be discreet and not be able to take pictures of yourself. We were both scared to say anything, as he had many more people behind him than we do, as we have each other. Well, that's obvious. He is a huge fitness influencer. I'm sure Joe has many people who would stand behind him. I've seen his comment section. There's people that I personally know, there's people from my gym, there's influencers from my gym, from my hometown, who have all stood behind the guy. I'm not part of the sheet, but it's hard to have been watching someone for years and years and years, and it doesn't matter if you think he's natty or not, or if he's a fake natty or this or that. The guy seems genuinely decently stand up. He just seems like a lad. He, you know, everybody does things, but I don't think he's the type to go around hitting women personally. I don't think that. Is it true? I don't know. This is my opinion. We realized we both have each other. We realized we weren't crazy and endured the same relationship. He also has hundreds of photos of girls in his My Eyes Only, that being, I believe, Snapchat My Eyes Only, which is hidden photos on Snapchat, which only you can see using a code. And the girls don't know he has them, so be careful if he secretly records you when you're going back to his. So Joe Fazer is apparently a creepy man who goes around recording girls and saving it. Now, I've never been into this. I've never been into the whole sending nudes or pictures like that to people. If you see somebody pointing a camera at you, look at this, the big ass cameras. This is quite hard to hide, guys, especially on these new iPhones. You can take a picture, you can be taking a selfie of yourself at the gym, right? And it looks like you're taking a picture of the person halfway across the room. Look, see what I mean? Again, my personal opinion. And also, if, I don't know what to say here. It's pictures, let's say that these are theoretical pictures and they're in his My Eyes Only or that hidden folder. Fair enough. I think everybody would keep these type of, let's presume they're consensual, unlike they're being said. These sort of personal pictures of people being, I don't know, nude or whatever, probably you should hide in your camera roll. You probably shouldn't keep them up at the open. I have also included messages of my mum over the months of me feeling really guilty for what I've done and going to her and talking to her about what is making me feel like, which he had looked through and messaged my mum. So it's really hard to read this. The grammar on this post is terrible. Okay, so this is from Joe's perspective. So this girl says in her post that she texted her mum and told her about all this. This is this girl's mum texting Joe, saying, "Joe, this is my number in case you need it," something, something. Then it says, "I'm so sorry that Tiana has hit you again. I really am." Do we need more proof here, guys? It doesn't say, "You've hit my daughter." It says, "I'm sorry that she has hit you again." Now those guys, again, means this has been recurring, that they know about this, and it's everybody's fault, in my opinion. 3 people know about this. The mum, the girl, and Joe Fazer. And they're all letting it happen. The girl's doing it to Joe, Joe's letting it happen, the mum is letting it happen, and apologizing. Have you heard from her today? I'm just worried, as she was saying some worrying things last night, and I don't trust her mental state not to do something stupid. So now we know that even her mum thinks that there's something not right. Maybe she's depressed, maybe she's got some problems, some issues, and she's taking it out on Joe by physically hurting him. Now that's never the answer, guys. You can't ever do that. It's wrong. And I'm sad that Joe didn't come out earlier about this, because it's easy to say, oh, well, he's a guy, he's muscular, he's big, it didn't even hurt, it's fine, you know, he's so much more, he's stronger, or he's more powerful, or he has more connections or more friends to back him up. Fair, but if you switch the roles around and suddenly there was evidence, physical text evidence, let's say, oh, Joe's dad saying to the girl, sorry that Joe hit you again. People, the internet would explode, okay? Just saying, guys. Then the mum says, I've heard from her now, sorry to bother you. Joe responds later on, hey, I'm sorry, I've just woken up and seen this message, glad she's okay. Then the mum says, no worries, hope you're okay as well. Either he's a master manipulator, or he genuinely does care even though this person hits him. Which is sad to know. It's sad to see that he's been stuck in a relationship like this. If you want to read all of this, it is still up publicly on this girl's Instagram. So things saying, came in the bathroom so he doesn't see me cry, because he said how annoying it is and how it defeats the point because I cry so much, and it's like, oh, for OFFS, she's crying again. Now, I see her point of view, thinking that he's saying that, but isn't this how somebody would react after they get physically hurt, after they get hit? Thinking, why are you crying? Why are you trying to play the victim after physically hurting me? Doesn't that slowly start to make sense? Just saying my opinion. Then another thing that I will bring up on this post is Joe Fazer's video really only mentions things between them. It doesn't mention what this girl did, who she was with, if she was doing substances or anything. Sort of, even in his messages, he says at the end that he still loves her and things like this, even though they don't want to get back together, which I believe he's still sort of shook about the situation, and maybe he does mean it. It really kind of shows you this guy's character, that even after all this, taking all this, there's some really graphic stuff in Joe's video. If you want to watch it, I won't speak about. It's about how she hurt him exactly. He explains it. Now, Joe's not putting up photos of this, obviously. There's some quite disturbing voice notes that he does play in his video, which you can make of what you will. But another thing that I believe this girl is trying to do is, since they're not getting back together, because in Joe's video, suddenly she's not speaking about how he's abusive or how bad he is. She says that he had a good environment, that she was provided with a good environment. And I'm not quite sure how you can have a good environment if it's an abusive environment. Kind of a contradicting point. And there's this bit where they both rebound against each other, and Joe says that she hurt him in a way where she describes if another girl liked doing a certain thing to him whilst hurting a certain part of him. I'm sure you can guess what we're talking about here. Another way she's trying to bring down Joe Fazer is by exposing photos such as these. I'll bring them up on screen right now. That is some. That's some My Little Olympia kit right there. We've got some what look like peptides. Got some nice pins, some fucking horse syringes, intramuscular needles right there. We've got a whole box of used up wrappers. Looks like a vial, could be test, could be something like that. We don't know. I can't see the labels, guys. We've got some injection swabs, some insulin needles. We've got what looks like a peptide or possibly growth hormone kit on the left here. Now, do we have any idea if this is actually Joe Fazer's or not? No. There is no picture that indicates whether this is at his house. It doesn't indicate, it doesn't say, this is Joe Fazer's prescription. Now, obviously, in the United Kingdom, you can't get prescribed things like Trenbolone or things like this, okay? Whether this is actually Joe's or not, I don't know. I can't blame him. Whether you think Joe is natty or not, that's your own opinion. Do I think he's natty? I think it's questionable. But whether he is this unnatty, that there's this amount of crazy stuff going on here, these massive intramuscular needles, this possible growth hormone kit, bunch of empty vials here. All I'm saying is when people cycle on and off of steroids, you can see it. You can see them blow up, get smaller. This could just be pictures, random pictures go off the internet. Now, to be fair, there is, on the very left, it is a picture of a girl's hand holding what looks like to be possibly a peptide or a growth hormone kit. It just says advanced formula on it. It looks like a peptide. It's a white powder. No idea what it is. Could be L-carnitine, which is completely natty and allowed, and you can buy it in the UK. So there you go. That's like holding up a vial of RU58841 and saying you're on SARMs. RU58841 is a SARM, but it's a SARM used for hair. It's a SARM used for hair growth. It's not used for muscle, guys. Man, this is hard. It's hard to talk about because I almost feel bad making this video, because if I get a bunch of views, I'm going to be honest, it feels wrong. it feels wrong taking advantage of somebody else's situation to get views and growth for my own channel. But I think I just wanted to talk about this. I wanted to give my 2 cents of, I think some people are too scared to say their real opinions. I think I have quite a small channel, so it's not going to move, you know, it's not going to move the bar, it's not going to change much what I think, but at least I'm going to put it out there, at least people are going to see it. So I think a lot of Joe's brand is about being natty and, you know, showing to guys that it's possible to get to his physique from not a tremendous physique. It's all about eating, it's all about bulking up, skinny kid bulking. That's sort of his massive series that blew up. I think it's not very nice of her trying to ruin his whole career like that, showing pictures of what may possibly or may possibly not be Joe's steroids and needles and so on. Or, well, I'm not saying they're steroids, you never know, they're empty vials and needles. That's what I'm going to say, empty vials, possible growth hormone slash peptide kit on the left. It's just not a nice thing to do. There's not much from Joe's side sort of showing real private bits of their life. It's almost more of a retaliation, trying to sort of save himself in front of his fans. What am I going to say? I don't know. Personally, I don't think that this guy is a abuser slash, I don't think he goes around hitting women. I don't think everybody can define emotional abuse. It can be small things. It can be things like someone making fun of you constantly when you don't find it funny. Some people are stronger than others. There is a possible chance that Joe Fazer is the bad guy and is a manipulator and is an abuser. I personally don't think so. I think it's a really bad situation that he's in, being put in. I feel like he's backed into a corner. He can't really come out first because of how famous and big he is. I think he'd rather keep this secret and silent to just continue making content and continue going on with his life. This girl came out, maybe something big happened. I don't know. I don't know their life. I don't know Joe. I don't know this girl. I just think it's a big thing in the fitness industry, and let's just take this as a learning experience, guys. It's hard to mix relationships with your business slash your goals. I think they're 2 separate things, and you have to be very careful not to spill them over into each other, because things like this end up happening. Big drama all over the internet. You're just a guy from the UK. You're just a skinny kid who wanted to get bulky and get this, you know, become a fitness guy and get these sponsorships and everything. It's going really well. You meet this girl, you think she's great. Then you both realize that you're not good with each other. You get their parents involved. This drama happens. If the things that Joe says in his video happen to him physically from this girl, that's horrible. I don't even want to imagine how that feels. The pain of what he said must be tremendous. And I'm really sorry, Joe, if you're watching this video. Probably you won't be, but if anyone shows you this, for example, because there is a few videos on this, a few people have spoken out about this. I've just quickly looked it up. There's people, obviously, like Coach Greg, who jumps on every opportunity. I think Coach Greg speaks about everything and anything. There's Joe's video, there's the girls' posts, but there's not many people that have made big videos about this. There is a TikTok by Dan Ewan, who's a fitness influencer who I met at my gym, which is a small gym in Scotland, so I'm probably the 2nd or 3rd guy from Scotland to speak about this. So yeah, not feeling very happy out of this, guys. Bad things happen and unfortunate things happen, and I think we should take this as a lesson to not just jump headfirst into relationships, to really try to understand other people rather than rip them down. If somebody's doing something to you, don't fight fire with fire. Don't do bad things to them. Leave them. If there's toxic things happening, leave them. Don't physically abuse people. Maybe is a good one as well. Don't do that. Don't hit people. That's not going to work. We use our words, not our fists, okay? We're not cavemen anymore. And now I wonder if Joe is going to get a bunch of natty or not attacks on him in the next coming weeks because of these pictures of these needles coming up. I wonder what's going to happen, guys. I feel sorry for you, Joe. All the best. As for the girl, I'm not sure. It's not looking good. It's not looking good, guys, on that term. I personally think that Joe's side of the story is closer to the truth. All the best to you guys, and all I can recommend is research about relationship, guys. Even in Joe's video, it does say later on, he speaks about the fact that he researched into abusers and how they work. So I'm not sure if he's trying to make himself look gullible or if he actually was. He's a young guy, he's younger than me, so I'm not surprised that he doesn't know about this. Not many people know about this. That's why they get caught by toxic people or manipulators and such. They don't know how it works. And there are books out there. There are books about relationships. There's a book which I highly recommend. Only good things about it. It's called Attached. And the book is about attachment styles. Very important to understand how attachment styles work. There's, for example, an anxious attachment style, which means basically, even without their own fault, the person will think that you're cheating on them if you're seeing like your cousin, even like stupid things like this. They're anxious about everything, about what you do, about what they do, and all these things come from childhood trauma, how you were brought up, things that shaped you and formed you. So it's important to look into this. Just watch a few videos about this stuff. If you don't want to read a book, listen to a few podcasts. For example, there are relationship people all over. I think if people just viewed relationships more as a thing to get better at and level up and try to level up with your partner, sort of like if you each put 50-50, it's great. If someone puts 100, if one person puts 0, the other person needs to put 100, rather than it being 0-0, a zero-sum game. It has to be if somebody puts 20, the other person puts 80. Do you understand? It has to be cooperative. And that does not mean that if somebody hits you 20%, you hit them 80% back. That doesn't mean no hitting, no abuse towards each other. We don't do that, okay? More people just need to see relationships as things you can level up. You can level up your skills, you can listen, you can learn to be a better listener, you can learn to convey your information better, choose the right words, you can learn how to make both feel comfortable. There is there's love languages. Some people like to give gifts, some people like touch, some people like speaking all night, some people like different things. You need to try to understand the person you're with. And it's a lot wiser than jumping in head first and, don't know, chasing money and clout, for example. It's hard to say. It's hard to say. I think Joe is definitely going to see this as a big learning experience. I don't think he's a stupid guy. And he's going to have a killer winter arc. I think bro's going to get absolutely massive. One more thing, actually. If you're in a relationship that's anything like what Joe described, please do yourself a favor and leave the person, no matter how much you think you love them. They are bad for you. I think you should cut it at the bud, as they say, rather than drag it out and make it worse and worse and worse. So there are resources out there. Don't really have to link anything. I'm sure you can type on the internet abusive partner and things will come up instantly. There's helplines, there's people to talk to, there's your friends, there's your family, there's people on the internet. Anything, even like your buddies that you play games with on Discord, you can talk to. The best thing is to talk. If you bundle it all up and don't listen to anyone else's opinions, you're just going to think that you're correct. And even science is about listening to other people. It's not about you're correct. The greatest scientists always assume that they're wrong, that there's something out there that is the correct definitive answer and that they may be close to it, but they're probably wrong. So I think that's a view you should take to relationships, is there's always more to learn, and you should try to learn, you should actively learn. Same as parenting. People just have kids and then they don't read about it, they don't learn about it, and they just end up having kids that watch Cocomelon all day long, and then they're surprised why they can't speak and they're non-verbal. They've never looked into any of this. You guys see what I mean? So please do yourself a favor and treat relationships just like anything else. Use progressive overload on learning. Read one book a year, man, about relationships. Read one book a year, because one book a week or one book a month, none of you guys are going to do it. Just read one book about relationships. Do yourself a favor, read one book and see how much it's going to help you. That's it. See you guys in the next one.